The Galactic Challenge. In the vast expanse of the Milky Way, countless civilizations had risen and fallen, each leaving its mark on the tapestry of galactic history. Among these, the Galactic Council stood as a beacon of unity and progress, bringing together the most advanced races from across the stars. Their achievements were legendary, their technology unparalleled, and their wisdom seemingly boundless. Yet, in this grand assembly of cosmic powers, one species was notably absent from the upper echelons: humanity. Earth, a small blue planet in an unremarkable solar system, was viewed by most council members as little more than a curiosity. Humans were seen as primitive, their technology crude, and their understanding of the universe laughably limited. Councillor Zixnera, a being of pure energy from the Andromeda galaxy, often spoke dismissively of Earth. These humans, she would say, her form shimmering with disdain, barely understand the basics of interstellar travel. How can they possibly contribute to our grand endeavors? Many agreed with her sentiment. Humans were tolerated in galactic society, allowed to observe and trade, but never truly respected or included in matters of importance. Little did the Council know that this underestimation would soon be challenged in ways they could never have imagined. As the 127th Galactic Conclave convened, an air of urgency permeated the grand halls of the Council's space station. Representatives from 1,000 worlds gathered, their forms as diverse as the stars themselves. Some floated as clouds of sentient gas, others clicked and whirred in mechanical bodies, while yet others shifted through multiple dimensions. Grand Arbiter Colfax, a towering figure with skin like polished obsidian and eyes that glowed with the wisdom of eons, called the meeting to order. His voice, deep and resonant, echoed through the chamber. "Esteemed colleagues," he began, "we face a crisis unlike any in recent memory. The Zeta Reticuli system, home to over 50 billion sentient beings, is on the brink of collapse." Holographic displays flickered to life, showing a star system in turmoil. At its center, a massive star pulsed erratically, its surface roiling with unprecedented solar activity. "Our scientists predict that within 3 standard cycles, the star will go supernova," Colfax continued, his words met with gasps and murmurs of dismay. "The resulting explosion will not only obliterate the Zeta Reticuli system, but will trigger a chain reaction, destabilizing neighboring systems and potentially affecting hundreds of worlds." The Council erupted into chaos. Voices clamored for attention, propositions were shouted, and arguments broke out. Colfax raised a hand, silencing the tumult. "We have one hope," he said, his voice grave. "A rare element, novarium, found only on the planet Psylocke in the outer rim. It has the potential to stabilize the star's core and prevent the supernova. However, Psylocke lies on the far side of the galaxy, beyond treacherous space lanes filled with quantum storms and gravitational anomalies." Councillor Zixnera's energy form pulsed with frustration. "Even our fastest ships would take weeks to reach Psylocke. By then, it would be too late." As the Council debated furiously, searching for a solution that seemed increasingly out of reach, an unexpected voice cut through the din. Ambassador Chen Lai, the human representative, stood up. Normally overlooked in such high-level discussions, her presence now drew curious and somewhat condescending looks. "Honored Council," Chen Lai spoke, her voice steady despite the weight of countless alien gazes upon her. "Earth may have a solution." A ripple of disbelief swept through the chamber, followed by scattered laughter. Councillor Zixnera's form flickered with amusement. "Ambassador, while we appreciate your enthusiasm, this is hardly the time for jests. What could Earth possibly offer in this crisis?" Chen Lai stood her ground, her eyes reflecting a determination that gave even the most skeptical council members pause. "We have developed a ship, unlike anything the galaxy has seen before. We call it the Thunderbolt." As murmurs of curiosity and doubt spread through the chamber, Chen Lai activated a holographic projector. Above the council floor materialized an image of a sleek, almost predatory-looking vessel, Its hull gleamed with an unknown alloy, and strange energy patterns danced across its surface. "The Thunderbolt," Chen Lai explained, her voice filled with pride, "is capable of speeds that defy current understandings of physics. It can reach Skylocks in a matter of days, not weeks." The claim was met with a mixture of shock, disbelief, and outright scorn. Councillor Zixnera's energy form pulsed erratically. "Impossible. No known technology could achieve such speeds. You expect us to believe that humans, of all species, have made such a breakthrough." Grand Arbiter Colfax, however, leaned forward, his glowing eyes fixed on the hologram. "How?" he asked simply. Chen Li nodded, appreciating the Arbiter's willingness to listen. "For the past decade, Earth's best scientists have been working in secret on Project Horizon. We've discovered a way to manipulate the fabric of space-time itself, creating a bubble of altered reality around the ship. Within this bubble, the rules of physics as we know them change." As Chen Lai delved into a simplified explanation of the revolutionary propulsion system, even the most skeptical council members found themselves listening intently. The technology she described was so advanced, so far beyond what most had thought possible from humans, that it bordered on the miraculous. "We've kept this project secret," Chen Lai continued, "not out of distrust, but because we wanted to perfect it before presenting it to the galactic community. Now, faced with this crisis, we offer the Thunderbolt and its technology freely to the Council." A heavy silence fell over the chamber as the implications sank in. If what the human ambassador said was true, it would not only save the Zeta Reticuli system, but revolutionize galactic travel and shift the balance of power in unimaginable ways. Grand Arbiter Colfax's voice cut through the silence. "This is unprecedented. If your claims are true, Ambassador Chen Lai, humanity will have not only saved billions of lives, but changed the course of galactic history." Councillor Zixnera, still skeptical but unable to dismiss the possibility outright, spoke up. "Words are easy, Ambassador. Can you prove these claims?" Chen Lai smiled, a glint of challenge in her eyes. "We can do better than that, Councillor. The Thunderbolt is ready for launch. With the Council's permission, we propose an immediate mission to Xylox. Our crew can retrieve the Novarium and return in time to save the Zeta Reticuli system." The Council chamber erupted once more, but this time with a mixture of excitement, disbelief, and urgent planning. As the reality of the situation set in, even the most doubtful began to consider the possibilities. Grand Arbiter Colfax raised his hands, calling for order. His eyes, usually impassive, now shone with a glimmer of hope. "Ambassador Chen Lai, on behalf of the Galactic Council, I accept Earth's offer. Prepare your ship and crew. The fate of billions now rests in humanity's hands." As the Council scrambled to coordinate the unprecedented mission, Chen Lai stood tall, a quiet pride filling her heart. Humanity, long dismissed and underestimated, was about to show the galaxy what they were truly capable of. The Thunderbolt was more than just a ship. It was a symbol of human ingenuity, determination, and the indomitable spirit that had carried their species from earthbound primitives to the stars. The stage was set. The Thunderbolt would soon launch, carrying with it not just the hopes of billions of lives in the Zeta Reticuli system, but the future of humanity's place in the galactic community. As Chen Lai left the council chamber to make final preparations, she knew that regardless of the outcome, the universe would never view Earth the same way again. The greatest adventure in human history was about to begin, and the galaxy held its breath in anticipation. Unveiling the Thunderbolt. As news of Earth's revolutionary starship spread through the galactic grapevine, the docking bay of the Galactic Council's space station buzzed with anticipation. Delegates from hundreds of worlds crowded the observation decks, their diverse forms jostling for the best view. The air was thick with a mixture of excitement, skepticism, and not a small amount of fear. Ambassador Chen Lai stood at the forefront, her posture calm but her eyes betraying a hint of anxiety. Beside her, Captain Zara Okoye, the commander of the Thunderbolt, exuded quiet confidence. Zara was a veteran of Earth's space program, with a reputation for coolness under pressure and innovative thinking in crisis situations. "Are we ready for this, Ambassador?" Zara asked, her voice low. Chen-Lai nodded, a small smile playing on her lips. "Ready or not, Captain, it's showtime." A hush fell over the crowd as the massive bay doors began to slide open. From the inky blackness of space, a shape emerged, growing larger as it approached. The Thunderbolt glided into view, its sleek form unlike anything the assembled aliens had ever seen. The ship's hull was a deep midnight blue that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Patterns of energy danced across its surface in mesmerizing swirls, hinting at the incredible power contained within. As it came to a stop in the center of the docking bay, suspended in a gravity field, even the most skeptical observers couldn't help but be impressed. Counselor Zixnera's energy form pulsed with a mix of emotions. Impressive aesthetics, she conceded, her tone still carrying a note of doubt. But appearances can be deceiving. Grand Arbiter Colfax stepped forward, his obsidian skin gleaming under the bay lights. "Ambassador Chen-Lai, Captain Okoye, the Council awaits your presentation." With a nod, Chen-Lai activated a holographic display. The image of the Thunderbolt expanded, layers peeling away to reveal its inner workings. "Esteemed members of the Council," Chen-Lai began, her voice clear and confident, "what you see before you is not just a ship, but a leap forward in our understanding of the universe itself." As Chen-Lai spoke, Captain Okoye manipulated the hologram, highlighting key components of the ship. "The heart of the Thunderbolt is its quantum fold drive," Zara explained. "Unlike traditional propulsion systems that push against space, the QF drive creates a bubble of altered spacetime around the ship." The hologram zoomed in on the drive, showing complex energy patterns that defied conventional physics. "Within this bubble," Zara continued, "the ship isn't so much moving through space as it is relocating space around itself. This allows us to achieve speeds that were previously thought impossible." Murmurs of astonishment rippled through the crowd. Even the most advanced races in the Council had only theorized about such technology. To see it realized was nothing short of revolutionary. Counselor Drakthar, a silicon-based lifeform known for his scientific acumen, stepped forward. "This is remarkable," he admitted, his crystalline structure glittering with excitement. "But surely the energy requirements for such a drive would be astronomical. How have you overcome this hurdle?" Chen-Lai smiled, appreciating the insightful question. "An excellent point, Counselor. This is where another breakthrough comes into play." The hologram shifted, focusing on what appeared to be a swirling vortex of energy at the ship's core. "We call this the Infinity Core," Chen-Lai explained. "It's a controlled quantum singularity, harnessing the power of a miniature black hole. This provides the Thunderbolt with nearly limitless energy, enough to power the quantum fold drive and all other systems indefinitely." The revelation sent shockwaves through the assembled delegates. Controlled singularities had been a dream of many advanced civilizations, but none had managed to stabilize one, let alone harness its power safely. Counselor Zixnera, her skepticism finally giving way to amazement, spoke up. "This technology, it could revolutionize everything. Galactic travel, energy production, even the way we build our civilizations. How did humans, a species we've long considered primitive, achieve all this in secret?" Captain Okoye stepped forward, her voice filled with pride. "Necessity, Counselor. Humanity has always thrived when pushed to its limits. When we realized the vastness of the galaxy and our place in it, we knew we had to evolve or be left behind. The Thunderbolt is the result of thousands of brilliant minds working tirelessly, driven by the dream of reaching the stars." As the presentation continued, detailing the ship's advanced defensive systems, its adaptive AI core, and its groundbreaking life support capabilities, the mood in the docking bay shifted dramatically. Skepticism gave way to awe, and dismissal turned to respect. Grand Arbiter Colfax, who had remained silent throughout the presentation, finally spoke. Ambassador Chenlai. Captain Okoye, on behalf of the Galactic Council, I must commend you and your species. What you've achieved here is nothing short of miraculous. The question now is, are you prepared for the mission ahead? Captain Okoye nodded firmly. We are, Arbiter. My crew and I have trained extensively for this moment. We understand the risks and the importance of our mission. The Thunderbolt is ready, and so are we. Then let us waste no time, Colfax declared. The crisis in the Zeta Reticuli system grows more dire by the moment. Captain Okoye, assemble your crew. You have the full support and resources of the Galactic Council at your disposal. As the meeting adjourned and preparations for the mission kicked into high gear, Chenlai pulled Captain Okoye aside. Zara, she said quietly, I don't need to tell you how much is riding on this. It's not just about saving the Zeta Reticuli system. The future of humanity's place in the galaxy depends on the success of this mission. Zara placed a reassuring hand on the ambassador's shoulder. I understand, Chen. We won't let Earth down. We won't let the galaxy down. Over the next few hours, the Thunderbolt's crew arrived at the station. Each member had been handpicked for their expertise and adaptability. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the ship's chief scientist, was a prodigy in quantum physics and sonobiology. Lieutenant Jamal Abdi, head of security, was a tactical genius with nerves of steel. Engineer Maria Gonzalez was the architect behind much of the Thunderbolt's revolutionary technology. As the crew made final preparations, loading supplies and running last-minute diagnostics, the gravity of their mission began to sink in. They were about to embark on a journey that would take them farther and faster than any humans had ever traveled before, with the fate of billions resting on their shoulders. Captain Okoye gathered her crew for a final briefing in the Thunderbolt's command center. Looking at each of their faces, she saw a mixture of excitement, determination, and yes, a hint of fear. But underlying it all was a sense of purpose that filled her with pride. I won't sugarcoat this, Zara began, her voice steady. What we're about to attempt has never been done before. We'll be pushing this ship and ourselves to the limit. The path to Stylox is fraught with dangers, both known and unknown. But I have faith in this ship, and I have faith in each and every one of you. She paused, letting her words sink in. Remember why we're here. Billions of lives are counting on us. But more than that, we carry with us the hopes and dreams of every human who has ever looked up at the stars and wondered what's out there. Today, we answer that question. Today, we show the galaxy what humanity is truly capable of. A chorus of affirmations echoed through the command center. The crew of the Thunderbolt, diverse in background but united in purpose, stood ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As the final preparations were made, news of the impending mission spread throughout the galaxy. On countless worlds, beings of all forms gathered around communication devices, eager to witness history in the making. The Thunderbolt, once dismissed as an impossible dream, now stood as a beacon of hope for an entire star system and a symbol of humanity's emergence onto the galactic stage. In the docking bay, Grand Arbiter Colfax approached Captain Okoye one last time. Captain, he said, his voice solemn, I must admit, I had my doubts about entrusting such a crucial mission to humans. But seeing your ship, your technology, and the determination in your eyes, I now have hope. May the cosmic winds be at your back. Zara nodded, accepting the weight of his words. Thank you, Arbiter. We won't let you down. With a final salute to Ambassador Chenlai and the assembled council members, Captain Okoye boarded the Thunderbolt. As the airlock sealed behind her, she took a deep breath, centered herself, and made her way to the bridge. The ship hummed to life around her, systems coming online with a symphony of lights and sounds. Her crew sat at their stations, eyes focused on their tasks, but bodies thrumming with anticipation. Zara took her place in the captain's chair, feeling the responsibility settle onto her shoulders like a familiar weight. She allowed herself one moment to appreciate the magnitude of what they were about to attempt. Then, with a voice that betrayed none of her inner turmoil, she gave the command that would go down in history. All stations, report status. One by one, her crew confirmed their readiness. The Thunderbolt, humanity's greatest achievement, was primed for its maiden voyage. Very well, Zara said, her eyes fixed on the star-filled expanse visible through the main viewport. Initiate launch sequence. Let's show the galaxy what we can do. As the Thunderbolt's engines flared to life, bathing the docking bay in ethereal light, a new chapter in galactic history began to unfold. Humanity, long overlooked and underestimated, was about to leap into the unknown, carrying with them the hopes of billions and the future of their species. The journey to save the Zeta Reticuli system, and to prove humanity's worth to the galaxy, had begun. The journey begins. The Thunderbolt glided out of the Galactic Council's docking bay, with a grace that belied its immense power. As it cleared the station's gravitational field, the ship's true capabilities began to shine. The familiar starscape outside the viewports suddenly shifted, stars stretching into brilliant streaks of light as the quantum fold drive engaged. Inside the bridge, Captain Zara Okoye felt a momentary sense of disorientation as space itself seemed to warp around them. "Status report," she commanded, her voice steady despite the awe-inspiring view before her. Lieutenant Jamal Abdi, at the tactical station, responded first. "All systems nominal, Captain. Our speed is—" He paused, double-checking his readouts. "It's beyond anything our simulations predicted. We're already passing the outer reaches of the Council's territory." Dr. Yuki Tanaka, hunched over her science station, let out a low whistle. "The quantum fold is performing beautifully. We're not just bending space. We're practically rewriting it as we go. At this rate, we'll reach Dialox in less than half the time we estimated." A ripple of excitement passed through the bridge crew. They were making history with every passing second, pushing the boundaries of what was thought possible. However, their elation was short-lived. Barely an hour into their journey, alarms blared across the bridge. Engineer Maria Gonzalez's voice came through the comm system, tense but controlled. "Captain, we're detecting unusual energy fluctuations in the quantum fold field. It's nothing we encountered in our simulations." Zara leaned forward in her chair, instantly alert. "Source: unknown," Maria replied. "But it's causing microfractures in our space-time bubble. If it continues, we could lose containment." The implications didn't need to be spelled out. A collapse of the quantum fold field at their current speed could be catastrophic, potentially spreading their atoms across half the galaxy. "Drop us out of quantum fold," Zara ordered. "Standard sublight engines until we can identify the problem." The starscape outside normalized as the Thunderbolt decelerated to conventional speeds. The crew breathed a collective sigh of relief, but the tension on the bridge remained palpable. Dr. Tanaka's fingers flew over her console as she analyzed the data. "Captain, I'm detecting massive gravitational distortions in this sector. It seems we've stumbled into a nest of quantum filaments, strands of hyper-condensed space-time that our sensors couldn't detect at quantum fold speeds." Zara frowned. This was an unexpected complication, one that could significantly delay their mission if they had to navigate around it at sublight speeds. Options. Before anyone could respond, Lieutenant Abdi's console lit up like a Christmas tree. "Captain, we got company. Multiple ships decloaking off our port bow. Configuration unknown, but their weapons are hot." On the main view screen, a group of sleek, predatory-looking vessels shimmered into view. Their design was unlike anything in the Galactic Council's database. A harsh, guttural voice crackled through the ship's communication system. "Unidentified vessel, you have entered restricted Kralthor space. Surrender your ship or be destroyed." Zara's mind raced. The Kralthor were notorious pirates and marauders, operating on the fringes of civilized space. Their sudden appearance here, in what should have been empty space, was troubling. "Open a channel," Zara ordered. Once established, she spoke clearly and firmly. "This is Captain Zara Okoye of the Earth ship Thunderbolt. We're on an urgent mission sanctioned by the Galactic Council. We mean no trespass and request safe passage." A barking laugh was the only response before the channel cut off. Seconds later, energy weapons flared from the Kral Thor ships, impacting the Thunderbolt's shields with surprising force. "Shields holding at 92%, Jamal reported, "but they're hitting us with some kind of phased plasma weapon. Our defenses won't last long against sustained fire." Zara's mind whirled through their options. They couldn't risk a prolonged battle, not with their mission at stake and billions of lives hanging in the balance. But surrender wasn't an option either. "Dr. Tanaka," she called out, an idea forming. "Those quantum filaments, can we use them?" Yuki's eyes widened as she caught on to the captain's plan. "It's risky, but yes. If we can generate a controlled quantum fold bubble, we might be able to ride the filaments like a cosmic highway. But the calculations would need to be perfect. One mistake, and we could end up fused with a strand of space-time." "Do it," Zara commanded. "Maria, reroute all non-essential power to the shields and the quantum fold drive. Jamal, evasive maneuvers, keep their fire off our vital systems." The bridge erupted into a flurry of activity. As the Kral Thor ships pressed their attack, the Thunderbolt danced between barrages of weapons fire, its advanced propulsion systems allowing it to move in ways that defied the pirates' targeting systems. "Quantum fold calculations complete," Yuki announced, her voice tense. "But Captain, I must stress, this is highly theoretical. We've never attempted anything like this before." Zara nodded grimly. "Noted, Doctor. But right now, theory is all we've got. Engage the drive on my mark." The Thunderbolt shuddered as another volley of Kral Thor weapons found their mark. "Shields at 60% and falling," Jamal reported. "Now, Dr. Tanaka," Zara ordered. With a press of a button, the quantum fold drive hummed to life once more. But this time, instead of the usual stretching of starlight, the view screen filled with an otherworldly glow. The quantum filaments, invisible to normal sensors, lit up like a vast, multi-dimensional spiderweb. The Thunderbolt surged forward, riding the quantum currents with breathtaking speed. Behind them, the Kral Thor ships grew smaller, their weapons fire dissipating harmlessly in the twisted space-time left in the Thunderbolt's wake. On the bridge, the crew watched in awe as they traversed to distances that should have taken days in a matter of minutes. The quantum filaments pulsed with energy, carrying them through the cosmos like a river of pure space-time. "This is incredible," Yuki breathed, her eyes wide as she absorbed the sensor readings. "We're not just traveling through space, we're surfing on the very fabric of the universe. The scientific implications of this are staggering." Zara allowed herself a small smile. "Log everything, Doctor. I have a feeling the Galactic Council will be very interested in your findings. But for now, let's focus on our mission. How long until we clear the filament network?" "At our current velocity, we should emerge in approximately 10 minutes, Yuki reported. "And Captain, according to my calculations, this detour may have actually shortened our journey. We're now ahead of schedule." A ripple of relieved laughter spread through the bridge. They had faced their first major challenge and emerged not just unscathed, but with new knowledge and capabilities. As the minutes ticked by, Zara reflected on the encounter. The presence of the Kral Thor so far from their usual hunting grounds was concerning. Could they have known about the Thunderbolt's mission? And if so, who could have informed them? Her musings were interrupted as the radiant glow of the quantum filaments began to fade. "Preparing to disengage from the filament network," Yuki announced. "Brace for transition to normal space in 3, 2, 1. The Thunderbolt emerged from the quantum filaments with a flash of light, the familiar starscape reasserting itself on the view screen. But the view that greeted them was far from ordinary. Spread out before them was a vast nebula, its swirling gases painted in hues of purple, green, and gold. And there, nestled within the cosmic clouds, was a planet that could only be their destination. Xylox. We made it, Jamal whispered, voicing the crew's collective amazement. Zara nodded, allowing the moment of victory to wash over her before refocusing on the task at hand. Well done, everyone. But remember, we're only halfway there. Now comes the hard part, finding the Novarium and getting it back to the Zeta Reticuli system in time. As the Thunderbolt began its approach to Xylox, the crew's earlier elation gave way to a tense determination. They had overcome their first major obstacles, proving the ship's capabilities and their own resourcefulness. But the true test still lay ahead. The planet Xylox grew larger in their view screen, its surface a patchwork of deep canyons and towering crystal formations. Somewhere on that alien world was the key to saving billions of lives and forever changing humanity's place in the galactic community. Zara took a deep breath, centering herself for the challenges to come. All right, team. Let's make history. As the Thunderbolt entered Xylox's atmosphere, the next phase of their unprecedented mission began. The fate of the Zeta Reticuli system, and perhaps the future of human-alien relations, hung in the balance. But after what they had just accomplished, Zara and her crew felt ready to face whatever the universe might throw at them next. Racing against time. The Thunderbolt descended through Xylox's atmosphere, its advanced heat shields glowing faintly as they dispersed the friction of entry. As the ship broke through the cloud layer, the alien landscape of Xylox revealed itself in all its bizarre glory. Vast plains of iridescent crystal stretched as far as the eye could see, interrupted by towering spires that seemed to defy gravity. The sky above was a swirling mix of deep purples and vibrant greens, casting an otherworldly light across the terrain. "It's beautiful," Dr. Yuki Tanaka murmured, her eyes wide as she took in the sensor readings. "The entire planet is one giant geode. Those crystals, they're unlike anything in our databases." Captain Zara Okoi nodded, appreciating the view for a moment before refocusing on their mission. "Any sign of the Novarium deposits?" Yuki frowned, adjusting her instruments. "It's difficult to get a clear reading. The crystalline nature of the planet is interfering with our scanners. But I'm detecting faint traces of an energy signature that matches what we're looking for about 200 kilometers to the north." "Set a course," Zara ordered. As the Thunderbolt glided over the alien landscape, she turned to her chief engineer. "Maria, what's the status of the quantum fold drive after our little detour through the filaments?" Engineer Maria Gonzalez looked up from her console, her expression a mix of excitement and concern. "The drive itself is stable, Captain. But that ride put a lot of strain on our power systems. We'll need to be careful about how we use it on the return journey." Zara nodded, filing away this information. Every decision from this point on would be crucial. As they approached the coordinates Yuki had identified, a new challenge presented itself. The energy signature was emanating from deep within a massive canyon, its walls lined with jagged crystal formations that jutted out at odd angles. "We can't risk taking the Thunderbolt down there," Jamal Abdi said from the tactical station. "Those crystal formations would tear our hull apart." "Agreed," Zara said. "Looks like we're going to have to do this the old-fashioned way. Yuki, Jamal, you're with me. We'll take a shuttle down and retrieve the Novarium on foot. Maria, keep the Thunderbolt at high altitude and monitor for any signs of trouble." As the away team prepared for their expedition, donning environmental suits designed to protect them from Xylox's alien atmosphere, a sense of nervous excitement permeated the air. They were about to set foot on a world no human had ever visited before. The shuttle ride down into the canyon was tense, with Jamal expertly navigating between the crystal spires. As they touched down on a relatively flat area near the energy signature, Zara couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. They were making history with every step. "Remember," she said as they disembarked, "we're on a clock. The longer we take here, the less time we have to save the Zeta Reticuli system. Stay alert and stay together." The trio made their way through the crystalline landscape, their boots crunching on a surface that seemed to shift between solid and liquid states. The energy signature grew stronger as they approached a cave entrance that pulsed with an eerie blue-green light. "The Novarium should be just inside," Yuki said, her voice filled with barely contained excitement. "But Captain, these readings, they're off the charts. If this substance is as volatile as the Council's report suggested, we'll need to be extremely careful in how we handle it." Zara nodded grimly. "Understood. Jamal, take point. Yuki, guide us to the strongest concentration of the element." As they ventured deeper into the cave, the crystals around them began to resonate, emitting a haunting melody that seemed to vibrate through their very bones. The further they went, the more intense the sound became, until it was almost unbearable. "There!" Yuki shouted over the din, pointing to a cluster of crystals that glowed with an intense inner light. "That's the purest concentration of Novarium I've ever seen. With that amount, we could stabilize a dozen stars." But as they approached the Novarium cluster, the cave began to shake. Crystals fell from the ceiling, forcing the team to dodge and weave. "The Novarium is reacting to our presence," Yuki yelled, her eyes wide with realization. "It's destabilizing the entire cavern." Zara made a split-second decision. "Jamal, get the extraction equipment ready. Yuki, calculate the minimum amount we need to save the Zeta Reticuli system. We'll take only what we absolutely need and get out of here." Working with frantic precision, they managed to extract a sizable chunk of Novarium, carefully sealing it in a containment unit designed to handle volatile materials. But their victory was short-lived. As soon as the Novarium was removed from its resting place, the cave's resonance reached a fever pitch. The ground beneath their feet began to crack, and a blinding light started to emanate from the fissures. "Run!" Zara shouted, clutching the containment unit to her chest as they sprinted back towards the cave entrance. They burst out of the cave just as it collapsed behind them, a shockwave of energy sending them tumbling across the crystalline ground. As they struggled to their feet, they saw that the destruction wasn't limited to the cave. The entire canyon was coming apart, massive crystal spires toppling like dominoes. "Back to the shuttle. Now," Zara ordered, her voice hoarse from the dust and exertion. They barely made it, with Jamal pulling off a masterful takeoff as crystal shards rained down around them. As they ascended towards the thunderbolt, they watched in awe as the canyon below was transformed. The fallen crystals were forming into new, bizarre configurations. Once safely back aboard the thunderbolt, the gravity of what they'd just accomplished began to sink in. They had the Novarium. They could save the Zeta Reticuli system. But their troubles were far from over. "Captain," Maria's voice came over the comm, tight with concern. "Long-range sensors are picking up multiple ships entering the system. They match the configuration of the Kral Thor vessels we encountered earlier." Zara's heart sank. How had the pirates found them? And more importantly, how were they going to get past them with their precious cargo? "Battle stations," she ordered, her mind racing through potential strategies. "We need to get out of this system and back to Zeta Reticuli as fast as possible." "Maria, what's the status of the quantum fold drive?" "Operational, but as I mentioned earlier, we'll be pushing it to its limits. We might only have one good jump in us before we need to let it cool down." Zara nodded, a plan forming in her mind. "All right, here's what we're going to do. We'll use standard engines to break atmosphere and get some distance from Xylox. Once we're clear, we'll engage the quantum fold drive and try to lose the Kral Thor in the jump. With any luck, we'll be halfway to Zeta Reticuli before they know what hit them." As the Thunderbolt climbed out of Xylox's atmosphere, the Kral Thor ships came into view, their weapons already charging. "They're hailing us," Jamal reported. "Ignore it," Zara commanded. "Evasive maneuvers. Get us clear of the planet's gravity well." The next few minutes were a symphony of chaos as the Thunderbolt wove through a barrage of enemy fire. The ship's advanced shielding held, but each impact sent shudders through the hull. "We're clear of Xylox's gravitational influence," Yuki announced. "Engage quantum fold drive," Zara ordered. The familiar stretching of starlight filled the view screen as the Thunderbolt leaped into folded space. For a moment, it seemed they had escaped, but then alarms blared across the bridge. "Captain, 3 Krell Thor ships managed to follow us into the fold," Jamal reported, his voice tense. "They must have reverse-engineered some kind of quantum fold technology from our earlier encounter." Zara gripped the arms of her chair, her mind racing. They couldn't afford a prolonged chase, not with the fate of billions hanging in the balance. They needed to end this, and fast. "Yuki, those quantum filaments we rode earlier, can you locate another network?" The science officer's fingers flew over her console. "Yes. There's a cluster about 2 light-years ahead of our current position." "Plot a course," Zara commanded. "Everyone, hold on tight. We're about to attempt something that's either brilliant or suicidal." As the Thunderbolt approached the quantum filament network, Zara gave the order to cut power to the quantum fold drive. The ship dropped out of folded space, mere kilometers from the invisible strands of hyper-condensed spacetime. "Full power to rear shields," Zara shouted as the Krell Thor ships emerged behind them, weapons blazing. At the last possible second, Zara ordered the quantum fold drive re-engage. The Thunderbolt surged forward, riding the quantum filaments like a cosmic surfer. Behind them, 2 of the Krell Thor ships, unable to adjust in time, careened into the filaments. Their hulls, not designed for such stresses, crumpled like paper as they were stretched and twisted by the fundamental forces of the universe. The 3rd Krell Thor ship, perhaps realizing the futility of the chase, veered off, disappearing back into normal space. A cheer went up on the Thunderbolt's bridge, but Zara knew their mission was far from over. "Status report," she called out. "Quantum fold drive is overheating," Maria reported. "We'll need to drop to sublight speeds soon to prevent a burnout." "The Novarium is stable," Yuki added, "but we're cutting it close on time. Even at our current speed, we'll reach the Zeta Reticuli system with less than an hour to spare before the star goes supernova." Zara nodded, feeling the weight of their responsibility settle onto her shoulders once more. They had overcome incredible odds to retrieve the Novarium, but the most crucial part of their mission still lay ahead. As the Thunderbolt hurtled through the quantum filaments, pushing the laws of physics to their breaking point, Zara allowed herself a moment of reflection. They had already accomplished the impossible several times over. Now, they just needed to do it one more time. "Set course for Zeta Reticuli," she ordered, her voice filled with determination. "It's time to save a star system." The Thunderbolt surged onward, carrying with it the hopes of billions and the future of humanity's place in the galactic community. The final leg of their incredible journey had begun, and the clock was ticking. Triumph of humanity. The Thunderbolt dropped out of quantum space on the outskirts of the Zeta Reticuli system, its hull glowing from the stress of the prolonged high-speed journey. The view screen filled with the ominous sight of a star in its death throes, angry red tendrils of solar plasma reaching out into space. "Status report," Captain Zara Okoi commanded, her voice tense but controlled. Dr. Yuki Tanaka's fingers flew over her console. "The star's core is highly unstable. We have less than 40 minutes before it goes supernova. Quantum fold drive is offline," Engineer Maria Gonzalez added. "We pushed it beyond its limits. We're on conventional drives from here on out." Zara nodded grimly. They had made it, but the hardest part was still to come. "Jamal, what's the status of the system's evacuation?" Lieutenant Jamal Abdi consulted his readings. "About 60% complete, Captain. But there are still billions on the inner planets." The weight of those lives pressed down on Zora's shoulders. They had one shot at this, one chance to save an entire star system and prove humanity's worth to the galactic community. "Take us in," she ordered. "Full speed to the star's corona. Yuki, begin final calculations for the Novarium insertion." As the Thunderbolt approached the dying star, the ship's sensors screamed warnings. The heat and radiation levels were off the charts, pushing their shields to the limit. Hull temperature rising, Maria reported, her voice strained. We can't take much more of this. Zara gritted her teeth. Reroute all non-essential power to the shields. We need to get closer. The view screen filled with roiling clouds of superheated plasma. They were now closer to the star's surface than any ship had ever been. One wrong move, one shield failure, and they would be vaporized instantly. We're in position, Jamal announced. Zara turned to Yuki. Doctor, it's now or never. Yuki nodded, her face a mask of concentration. Initiating Novarium deployment sequence. A hatch on the Thunderbolt's hull opened, revealing a specially designed probe containing the precious Novarium. With surgical precision, the probe detached from the ship and plunged into the star's turbulent surface. For a moment, nothing happened. The bridge crew held their breath, watching the readings anxiously. Then suddenly, the star pulsed with a blinding light. Enormous energy spike detected. Yuki shouted. The Novarium is reacting with the star's core. The Thunderbolt shuddered violently as waves of energy washed over it. Warning klaxons blared as systems overloaded across the ship. Get us out of here, Zara commanded. Jamal didn't need to be told twice. He pushed the engines to their limit, guiding the Thunderbolt away from the star's deadly embrace. As they retreated to a safer distance, all eyes were fixed on the readings from the star. Slowly, miraculously, the chaotic energy patterns began to stabilize. The angry red hue of the star began to fade, replaced by a healthier yellow glow. I don't believe it, Yuki whispered, her eyes wide with wonder. It's working. The star is stabilizing. A cheer erupted on the bridge, the crew's jubilation a release of pent-up tension and fear. They had done it. They had saved billions of lives and an entire star system. As the reality of their achievement sank in, a new challenge presented itself. The Thunderbolt's communication system crackled to life, and the face of Grand Arbiter Colfax appeared on the screen. Captain Okoye, the Arbiter's deep voice resonated through the bridge. The Galactic Council has been monitoring your progress. What you and your crew have accomplished is unprecedented. Zara straightened in her chair, acutely aware that this moment would define humanity's future in the galactic community. Thank you, Arbiter. We were simply doing our duty. Colfax's obsidian features seemed to soften slightly. You have done far more than that, Captain. You have saved countless lives and demonstrated levels of technology and ingenuity that I did not believe your species capable of. The Arbiter paused, seeming to choose his next words carefully. The Council has convened an emergency session to discuss the implications of your mission. We would like you and your crew to present a full report in person. Zara exchanged glances with her crew, seeing her own mix of exhaustion and excitement reflected in their faces. We would be honored, Arbiter. However, our quantum fold drive is currently inoperative. It may take some time for us to return. A small smile played at the corners of Colfax's mouth. That will not be necessary, Captain. A Council ship is already en route to your location. They will escort you back to Council space. As the communication ended, the reality of what they had achieved began to sink in. They had not only saved the Zeta Reticuli system, but had also catapulted humanity onto the galactic stage in a way no one could have predicted. The next few days passed in a blur of debriefings, celebrations, and diplomatic meetings. The crew of the Thunderbolt found themselves at the center of a galactic media frenzy, with representatives from countless worlds clamoring for interviews and technology exchange agreements. Finally, the day of their presentation to the full Galactic Council arrived. As Zara and her crew stood before the assembled delegates, she felt a surge of pride in what they had accomplished. Esteemed members of the Council, she began, her voice clear and confident. What we achieved was not just a triumph of technology, but a testament to the human spirit. We faced challenges that many thought impossible to overcome, and we did so not just for ourselves, but for the billions of lives at stake. As Zara spoke, holographic displays showed key moments from their mission: the quantum filament surfing, the harrowing retrieval of the Novarium, the nail-biting stabilization of the Zeta Reticuli star. The council members watched in rapt attention, many seeing the full extent of the Thunderbolt's capabilities for the first time. "We come before you not to boast of our achievements," Zora continued, "but to extend a hand in partnership. The technology we've developed, the discoveries we've made, we offer to share them with the galactic community. In return, we ask for the opportunity to take our place among you as full members of this council, ready to contribute to the greater good of all sentient beings." A murmur ran through the assembled delegates. Grand Arbiter Colfax stood, his imposing figure commanding immediate silence. "Captain Okoye, crew of the Thunderbolt, people of Earth," he intoned, his voice carrying the weight of history, "you have shown us that we were wrong to underestimate humanity. Your courage, your ingenuity, and your commitment to the greater good have impressed even the most skeptical among us." He paused, his glowing eyes sweeping across the chamber. "It is the decision of this council that Earth be granted full membership status, effective immediately. Furthermore, we propose the establishment of a new galactic science division, to be headquartered on Earth, focusing on the groundbreaking technologies you have demonstrated." The chamber erupted in applause. Zara felt a wave of emotion wash over her as she realized the full implications of this moment. Humanity had not just proven itself, it had secured a central role in shaping the future of galactic civilization. As the formal proceedings concluded, Zara found herself approached by Counselor Zixnera, the energy being who had once dismissed humans as primitive. "Captain," Zixnera's form pulsed with what Zara interpreted as embarrassment, "I owe you and your species an apology. I was wrong about humans, and I'm glad to have been proven so. Your actions have opened my eyes to the danger of underestimating any species, no matter how young." Zara smiled, extending her hand in a gesture of peace. "There's no need for apologies, Counselor. We're just glad to have the opportunity to work alongside you and all the members of the Council. Together, I believe we can achieve things none of us could have imagined alone." As Zara and her crew prepared for their return to Earth, now accompanied by a delegation of alien scientists eager to study the Thunderbolt's technology, she took a moment to gaze out at the star-filled expanse of space visible from the Council station. The universe suddenly seemed both larger and smaller, filled with more wonders and potential than ever before, yet now within humanity's reach. They had faced the unknown, overcome incredible odds, and emerged not just victorious, but transformed. The Thunderbolt's journey had begun as a desperate mission to save lives. It had ended by reshaping the future of humanity and the entire galactic community. As Zara contemplated the challenges and adventures that surely lay ahead, she couldn't help but smile. This was just the beginning. Humanity's greatest journey was only just beginning.